The end was near. The stars were quiet. Space was cold. In that silence, one life floated, alone and almost gone. Her name was Karina. She had once been a soldier, strong, fearless, full of fire. Now she was just a broken body inside a damaged escape pod, slowly drifting through the black sea of space. The glass window showed only endless darkness. Her oxygen level blinked red. 5 minutes left. She closed her eyes. "This is a good death," she whispered to herself. "No pain, just sleep." She had lost everything: her people, her planet, her purpose. The Vraks had come like fire. They did not talk, they did not care, they just destroyed. Her home was now ashes. Her family, gone. Her mission had failed. So what was left? She felt her heart beat slow. The escape pod was cold and her body was giving up. Her mind drifted between memories and silence. Then, something strange happened. A soft beep echoed inside the pod. A weak signal. A ship. Nearby. Karina frowned. No ships had answered her. Call for hours, maybe days. She thought it was a ghost signal. Just the computer's last trick, but then came a voice. A human voice. "I see you," it said. "Hold on, I'm coming." Karina's eyes flew open. Her hands grabbed the controls, but the screen only showed static. Still, the voice was real. A male voice. Calm. Warm. "No, this is not possible," she whispered. Humans were not enemies, but they were not rescuers either. They stayed out of the war. They watched from a distance, safe and silent. So why was one here now? Her pod shook. A shadow moved outside. A small ship, old but strong, floated close. Lights flashed. A docking arm reached out. Karina felt fear. Was this a trap? Was it the Vraks in disguise, or some scavenger? Her body told her to resist, to die alone, to not trust, but something inside her, something small, said hope. The door opened. Bright white light spilled in. A human stepped forward in a dark flight suit. He took off his helmet. Brown hair, tired eyes, soft smile. "You don't look so good," he said. Karina could not move. Her body was weak. Her lungs burned. Her vision blurred. The human stepped closer. He pressed a button on her seat. Oxygen flowed. Sweet, fresh air filled her lungs. Her eyes watered. "Why?" she asked. He looked at her. "Because you're alive." "You don't know me," she said. "I could be your enemy." "Maybe," he said, "but not today." She blacked out. She woke up on a soft bed, clean sheets, quiet humming, a small ship, maybe a cargo, runner. Nothing fancy, but safe. He sat nearby, checking a screen. "You sleep like a rock," he joked. "Been almost a day." "Why didn't you leave me?" she asked, voice weak. He looked serious. "Because I've been left before, didn't like it." She watched him. Humans were strange, so emotional, so stubborn. "My name is Ray," he said. "You?" "Karina." "Nice to meet you, Karina. Welcome to Second Chance." She looked around. Old wires, scratched walls, smell of oil and metal. "Your ship?" she asked. "Built it myself," he said proudly. "She's ugly, but loyal." Karina smiled slightly. The first smile in days. "Why are you here, Ray?" He sat back. "Just passing through. Heard a weak distress call. Most signals are fakes or traps, but yours felt different." "You risked your life," she said. "For nothing." "Nah," he said. "I saved someone. That's something." Silence filled the room. Karina stared at the ceiling. The cold fear in her chest was melting, replaced by confusion. This human, this simple man, had changed. Her fate. With no reason. No reward. "You'll regret this," she said softly. Ray stood up and smiled. "Maybe, but not today." He walked away, leaving her with food, water, and warmth. Karina turned her face away. She was ready to die. But now, she wasn't sure, and somewhere in the dark of space an unseen signal pulsed. The Vraks had noticed. First contact. Karina sat up slowly. Her body still ached, but it was better. Warmer. Her head stopped spinning. The bed was simple, the walls scratched and the lights flickered softly, but she was alive. She looked around the human ship. Second chance, Ray had called it. Old, patched together, not military, more like a smuggler's ship. But it had heart, like its owner. Ray was not in the room. She noticed a small tray beside her, food, water, and some kind of healing gel. Her fingers reached for the bottle, paused, and then pulled back. Why did she trust him? She didn't, not fully. But still, he had saved her. No questions, no demand. Just kindness. It made no sense. Karina stood, her legs shaky. She walked slowly, toward the door. It opened with a soft hiss. The hallway was narrow, wires hanging from the ceiling. She moved quietly, eyes sharp, always alert. She was trained for war, but this was not a battlefield. Or was it? In the cockpit, Ray was humming to himself, typing on a console. When Karina stepped in, he didn't turn. "Feeling better?" he asked. "Yes," she replied, but confused. "About what?" "Why you helped me." He leaned back in his chair, looked at her with calm eyes. "I told you, you were alive, that's enough." "You don't know me," she said. "You don't know what I've done." "Maybe," Ray replied. "But I've seen enough death. If saving someone is a mistake, it's one I can live with." Karina looked out the window. Stars blinked back, but something felt off. "Where are we?" "We're near the uncharted zone. No patrols, no Vraks, just silence." Karina frowned. "You should have taken me to a human outpost, or left me." Ray stood up and walked past, her toward the back. "You're not a prisoner," he said. "You're a guest, but if you want to leave, the airlock's that way." He wasn't joking, but he wasn't threatening either, just honest. Karina followed him, but stopped suddenly. A sharp sound echoed through the ship, a metallic whisper. Ray froze. "What was that?" she asked. He pulled out a scanner. "I've been hearing it all morning. Thought it was just old wiring." But the look in Karina's eyes said otherwise. "No," she whispered. "That sound, it's Vraks tech. Stealth drones use that frequency." Ray's face darkened. "You think they're tracking you?" "No," she said slowly. "I think they already are." They rushed to the engine room. The lights flickered again. Sparks fell from the ceiling. Something was wrong, deep in the ship system. Ray opened the main console. Karina stood beside him, typing fast. Alien symbols flashed across the screen. "Your system is infected," she said. "A hidden program, buried deep. Can you remove it?" "I'll try." She moved fast, focused. This was her battlefield. Ray watched her. Her hands moved like lightning. Her mind sharper than any tool. She wasn't just a soldier. She was a weapon. And right now, she was saving his ship. Suddenly, the lights turned red. Alarms blared. "Engine room lockdown initiated," a robotic voice said. Doors slammed shut. Ray was trapped inside. "Karina!" he shouted. She turned in panic. The console sparked. The virus was fighting back. "Ray, don't touch anything." He didn't listen. Smoke filled the room. The temperature rose. The system was melting. "You'll die in there," she cried. He grinned through the glass. "Guess we're even now." Karina took a deep breath. She had one option left. She pulled a small device from her suit, a relic from her world. Forbidden tech, but powerful. She pressed it to the console. It glowed blue. Her eyes turned white. Inside the engine room, systems rebooted. Locks opened. Ray fell to the floor, coughing. The heat faded. The lights turned green. She had won, but at a cost. Minutes later, Ray sat on the floor, drinking water, still sweating. Karina stood beside him, her hands shaking slightly. "You're insane," she said. "Takes one to know one." He smiled. She couldn't help but laugh, just a little. "Why did you risk it?" she asked. "Same reason you did," he said. "Guess we're both tired of watching others die." They sat in silence. Then Karina's voice grew cold. "They'll come for us now." "The Varax?" Ray nodded. "Then let's not make it easy." She walked to the cockpit and stared at the map. A cluster of red dots appeared on the edge of the screen. Varax ships. Slow, silent, but coming. Ray joined her. "You said you were a soldier," he said. "I was more," she answered. "I was a commander. I knew secrets they can't let me live." "Good," Ray said. "That means you're valuable." She looked at him. "You still want to help me?" He nodded. "Now more than ever." She leaned against the wall. Then, "Get ready, Captain Ray." This was not a rescue. No. This was the start of something big. She looked out the window. War is coming. And far away, deep in the shadows of space, a single Varax ship activated a beacon. They had found her. Trust is dangerous. Ray couldn't sleep. The ship was quiet again, but not peaceful. His thoughts were loud, the kind that never stop. Karina had saved him today. Not just helped, saved. She had used alien tech, risked her life, and shut down something he didn't even understand. But now, he was unsure. He sat alone in the cockpit, drinking cold coffee. The stars outside blinked softly, like silent watchers, but he didn't trust them anymore. Not after what just happened. He turned to the ship's computer. "Scan everything again," he said. "Deep sweep, full system." The voice replied, "Scanning in progress." His eyes stayed on the data. Meanwhile, Karina stood in the medbay, wrapping a burn on her arm. Her reflection stared back from a small mirror, tired, scarred, and full of shadows. She had been trained to never trust humans. They were unpredictable, emotional, dangerous. And yet, here she was, on a human ship, alive because of a man named Ray. Her hand touched the relic, device, the one she had used to save the ship. It pulsed faintly. It was illegal in her world, even dangerous. But it had worked, she whispered to herself. "I shouldn't be here." The lights flickered once. She didn't notice the small red dot blinking under the bed, a hidden recorder. Watching, listening. Back in the cockpit, the scan finished. Ray leaned forward. His eyes narrowed. Virus level, clean. But anomaly remains. Organic trace in code. He read it again. Organic trace. What the hell does that mean? He muttered. The computer responded. Foreign intelligence signature. Unknown species. He looked at Karina's file again. He had scanned her biosign when she came aboard. Basic safety. But now, he dug deeper. Her race, the Vrel, were a proud warrior people. Wiped out by the Varax. Few survivors. But the deeper files, the ones buried in human archives, said more. Experiments. Genetic fusion. Classified biotech. Ray leaned back, breath caught in his throat. "What are you, Karina?" The next morning, they sat in the dining area. The mood was cold. Karina ate quietly, but she could feel it. Ray was watching her. Not friendly, not curious, but cautious. Finally, she spoke. "You looked into me." He nodded. "Yes. You think I'm a threat?" "I don't know what to think." She placed her fork down. "Ask. What's that device you used yesterday?" he asked. "And why is there alien code still inside my ship?" Her eyes darkened. "You wouldn't understand." "Try me," he said, sharper now. She stood up. "I saved your life. If I wanted to kill you, I could have." "I know," he said. "And that's what scares me." Silence. Karina looked hurt, but only for a second. Trust is dangerous, Ray, she said. Even more for people like me. Then help me understand. Earn that trust. She paused, then nodded slowly. Come with me, she said. They went to the engine room again. She opened a secret panel behind the console. Wires, fluid tubes, glowing tech. This is not just an engine, she said. It's part living. Ray blinked. Living? Yes. It was built by ancient species, part machine, part life form. Very old, very smart. Why is it inside my ship? Karina smiled faintly. Because it chose you. His heart skipped. What do you mean? She touched the wall. Your ship is no longer normal. When I used my relic, I woke up something inside. The code you saw, it's not a virus. It's a memory. Ray backed up a step. You brought something here? No, she said. It was already here. Sleeping, waiting for a trigger. And now it's awake? Yes. They stared at each other. What does it want? He asked. Karina hesitated. I don't know yet, but I think it wants to help. That night Ray dreamed of light, a city in the sky. Voices calling his name, stars falling like rain. He woke up sweating. In the corner of the room, Karina was standing in silence. You saw it, didn't you? She asked softly. He nodded. The city. The voices. What is it? The memory, she said. From the ship, it's showing us the past, or maybe the future. Suddenly, the alarm beeped. Incoming ship, the computer said. No ID. Fast approach. Ray and Karina rushed to the cockpit. The screen lit up. A Vrax ship, stealth class, armed. Rays. Hands moved to the controls. We're not ready for this, he said. Karina leaned forward. Maybe we are. She pressed a button on the panel. The ship glowed faintly. A hum rose from the walls. The ancient tech inside Second Chance was awake. Hold tight, she said. A burst of light shot from the ship, like a pulse. The Vrax ship, frozen space, dead silent, not destroyed, but disabled. Ray stared in shock. What did we just do? Karina looked serious. We sent a message. Far across the galaxy, in a dark room filled with alien symbols, a creature watched the screen. It saw the pulse. It saw the ship. And it whispered. She has awakened it. The human helped her. They are now one. A new hunt had begun. Chase begins. The Vrax were coming. Fast. Karina stood over the control panel. Her eyes scanned the symbols flashing across the screen. Red lights, warnings, distance markers closing. 3 Vrax ships, full weapons. No warnings, she said quietly. Ray clenched his jaw. So this is it? Not yet, she replied. But soon. He turned to face her. You said the ship, this ancient thing, disabled one of them. Can it do it again? Karina shook her head. Not this soon. It needs time to charge again. And Vrax are not fools. They will not fall for the same trick twice. Outside, stars stretched into long silver lines as Second Chance entered hyperdrive. But even that wouldn't help forever. They're following us through the stream, Ray said. How? Karina answered slowly. Because of me. I carry something they want. 10 hours earlier. Deep inside Karina's body, something had awakened. A symbol buried in her skin had started to glow. It was not a tattoo. It was living code, genetic memory from her ancestors. A key. She didn't tell Ray yet. She didn't know if she should, because this key could open something ancient or destroy everything. Now inside the cockpit, Ray turned sharply. We need to hide, Karina smiled. You want to hide from Vrax? In this ship? Not forever. Just enough to come up with a plan, she thought, for a moment, then pointed to the map. Here. This asteroid field. It's old, Unstable, but it can shield us. Ray didn't like it, but he trusted her instincts now. He changed course. Minutes later, Second Chance dropped out of hyperspace. Darkness greeted them. Thousands of broken rocks drifted slowly through space, some as small as cars, some bigger than cities. Jagged, deadly. Karina whispered, "Home." Ray looked at her. "You've been here before?" She nodded. This was a virile outpost, long ago, lost in the war. The ship weaved through sharp turns. Rocks spun past like blades. Behind them, the Vrak ships arrived. Karina's fingers flew over the controls. "Turn left. Now," Ray obeyed. A massive asteroid passed just inches from the hull. One of the Vrak ships hit a rock, exploded into dust. Two remained. In the engine room, the ship's ancient tech was humming again. It was waking slowly, remembering, adapting. A soft voice echoed in Karina's mind. Not words, just feelings. Protect, connect, escape. Her eyes widened. "It's talking to me," she said. Ray glanced at her. "What?" "The ship, it's not just power, it's alive. And it's scared." Ray looked out the window at the endless flying rocks. "Great," he muttered. "Now the ship has feelings too." Suddenly, one of the Vrak ships fired, a direct hit, the Yo. Ship shook violently, lights blinked, alarms screamed. A panel burst open, sending sparks flying. "We've lost stabilizers," Ray shouted. "Keep moving," Karina yelled. "I can fix it." She ran toward the back, grabbing tools, wires, whatever she could find. Behind her, Ray spun the ship into a tight spiral. Asteroids blurred past. Inside the engine room, Karina opened the core. What she saw made her heart stop. The ancient tech was bleeding. A thick blue fluid leaked from the core like blood. "You're hurt," she whispered to it. Her hands moved fast. She wrapped cables, adjusted pressure, and connected her relic again. It pulsed blue. The engine hummed stronger. The ship steadied. Ray shouted from the cockpit, "Whatever you did, it worked." Karina smiled, even as her hands trembled. "You're welcome." But it wasn't over. The last Vrak ship had launched drones. Small, fast, and deadly. They buzzed around Second Chance like insects. "Too many," Ray said. "We won't last long." Karina returned to the cockpit. She stared at the screen. Then, she saw something. A large asteroid. Hollow. Ancient markings on its surface. "Go there," she said. "You sure?" "Yes. It's not just a rock. It's a vault." They entered the asteroid. Inside, space opened up. An artificial chamber. Black stone walls. Floating lights. Quiet. Forgotten. The drones didn't follow. They stopped at the entrance. And then fell dead. Ray looked at Karina. "What is this place?" She stepped out of the ship, walking slowly onto the dark floor. "A sanctuary," she said. "Made by the ancients. For people like me. People with the key," Ray guessed. She nodded. "This is why they're hunting me," she whispered. "Not just because of who I am, but because of what I carry." Ray followed her. "Then maybe we can use it." They reached the center of the chamber. A pedestal stood there, glowing softly. Karina touched it. Her skin lit up. Symbols crawled over her arms. The room began to shift. Walls opened. Light poured in. And from the floor, something rose. A ship. No, not a ship, a weapon. Alive. Asleep. But powerful. Karina turned to Ray. "This is what they feared. This is what they destroyed my people to hide." "What does it do?" he asked. She looked into his eyes. "It changes everything." Above them, the Vrak ship waited. But they didn't attack. They watched because they knew. The chase was no longer a hunt. It was a race, and they might already be too late. The lost planet, the vault, had opened. What lay beneath wasn't a weapon. It was a map. A map not made of stars or lines, but of memory, of light, of blood. Karina stood still as the glowing shapes hovered in the air. Ray looked around. unsure if this was real or some dream. The ship hovered silently behind them inside the giant asteroid. Everything around them felt ancient, like the very walls were listening. "This is not just a vault," Karina said. "This is a message left by the last of the old ones." Ray stared at the floating shapes. They moved, shifted, then locked. Into place, a single star system glowed brighter than the rest. "What is that?" he asked. Karina's voice grew quiet. "My home." They left the asteroid chamber with the map locked in the ship's memory. Outside, the last Vrak ship had disappeared. No attacks, no drones. Just silence. "Why did they leave?" Ray asked. Karina didn't answer right away. Then, softly, "Because they don't need to chase us anymore. They know where we're going." Ray didn't like that, but they had no choice. If the answers were on her lost world, they had to go. Because now, this wasn't just about survival. It was about stopping something far greater than the Vraks. The lost planet was called Shelnor. Long ago, it had been the heart of the Virel Empire, a place of great minds, living machines, and harmony with the stars. But the Vraks had poisoned it, destroyed cities, turned oceans into dust, and now only ruins remained. As the second chance approached, Karina's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't seen this place since she was a child. "It's dead," she whispered. "Maybe not all of it," Ray said. They landed on the edge of a fallen city, broken towers, cracked roads, dust blowing like ghosts across the ground. But something moved in the distance. "You saw that?" Ray asked. Karina nodded. "We're not alone." They moved carefully through the ruins. Karina carried her relic. Ray held a scanner. No Vraks, no drones. But the feeling in the air. Heavy. Like the ground remembered the screams. They entered a temple, half buried by time. Symbols glowed faintly on the walls. Virel writing, warnings. "Here sleeps the root of life. Guard it." "Well, this place," Karina said, "was built to protect something the Vraks were afraid of." They walked deeper inside and found it. At the center of the temple stood a large circular structure, alive with energy, vines growing through the cracks, glowing crystals humming softly. Ray stepped forward, then stopped. He saw something that froze him, a vision, not real, but clear. Earth, his home, burning, cities turned to dust, oceans boiling, people running, screaming, the Vraks above it all, watching. He gasped. "Ray?" Karina rushed to him. He fell to his knees, shaking. "I saw everything." The end. "This place is showing you possibilities," she said. "Not just memories, it speaks through fear." "Then why show me that?" he asked. Karina looked away. "Because the Vraks plan to do it. Not just to my people, but to yours. Earth is next." Ray stood up slowly, his fists clenched. "Then we stop them." But the truth was deeper. Karina stepped toward the crystal structure. Her relic pulsed. The energy shifted. A voice filled the room. Not sound, but something deeper. "You have returned, daughter of stars." Karina's eyes widened. "Mother?" the voice continued. "You carry the seed. The last hope. Only one may activate the root. But it comes at a cost." Ray watched, confused. "What does it mean?" Karina turned to him. "Long ago, our people created this. The root. It can destroy the Vraks or heal the galaxy, but it needs one life to awaken it." "One life?" Ray whispered. "A sacrifice." The air grew colder. Karina touched the core. It glowed brighter. Ray stepped closer. "You're going to do it, aren't you?" "I was born for this," she said. "No," Ray said firmly. "There has to be another way. We don't have time. The Vraks will return soon. Then we fight. We run. Anything but this." She smiled gently. "You saved me. Gave me hope when I had nothing. Now I have a chance to give something back." "I didn't save you so you could die," he snapped. "Maybe you did. she said softly. Outside, the sky changed. Dark clouds swirled. The air cracked. The Vraks had arrived. Dozens of ships. Shadows in the sky. The end was coming. Ray and Karina stood inside the temple, the root glowing between them. The choice was here. Then something unexpected happened. The ship, Second Chance, sent a signal. The ancient tech inside had joined with Karina. It had learned from her, from Ray, from their choices. And now, it offered a third path, a shared link. Not one sacrifice, but two lives, connected. Ray stepped forward. Karina's eyes widened. No, you can't. We do it together, he said. All or nothing. This could kill us both. Then let it. They joined hands over the root. Their energies combined. The relic glowed. The root awakened. A pulse of light burst out. The Vrak ships above began to fall. Systems died. Weapons stopped. The sky turned quiet. And then... silence. Karina opened her eyes. She was lying in the temple, light pouring in from the broken roof. Ray was beside her, still breathing. They had survived. The root had spared them because of one truth. They didn't choose death. They chose each other. Above, the Vraks retreated. For now, and across the galaxy, hope returned. But in the farthest corner of space, something darker stirred, older than the Vraks, stronger than memory, and it had just felt the root awaken. Sacrifice. Karina was dreaming again, not of war, not of the Vraks, but of a garden. It was glowing, peaceful, filled with trees that whispered. In the center stood a child holding a small light. The child looked at her and spoke with her mother's voice. One must fall, so others may rise. Karina opened her eyes. She was back in the temple. The root pulsed softly beside her like a sleeping heart, and Ray was gone. She rose quickly, her breath caught in her chest. Ray? No answer. She checked the room. Nothing. She ran outside. The sky was still dark but quiet. No Vraks, no ships. The battle was over, but something was wrong. Then she saw it. Ray stood at the cliff facing the sky, a small device in his hands, a detonator. What are you doing? She called out. He didn't turn. The ship told me everything, he said. About the root. About the key. About you. Karina walked closer. You don't understand. No, he said softly. I do. The root was made to bind with one. It chose you, but now it knows me too. It gave us a second path, together. And now, it's giving us a third. She stopped. What third? He turned finally, his face full of quiet sadness. It can activate completely, shut down every Vrak's network, stop their war machines. Permanently. Her eyes narrowed. But what's the price? He looked at her. Me. The detonator wasn't for destruction, it was a trigger, a personal link between him and the root. He had connected his own energy, his own memories, his own DNA. Now, one push could send the root into full awakening, but it needed a full mind to burn. Karina shook her head. No, you're not doing this. Ray smiled gently. You said once that I gave you hope, but you gave me something too. What? A reason. Flashback. Before Ray met her, he was drifting, working small cargo runs, avoiding politics, running from the pain of losing his sister in a colony bombing. He never got to save her, and it ate at him. But Karina, she had given him a second chance, not just to save someone, but to believe again. You think dying will fix your guilt? She snapped. No, he said. But maybe it will stop someone else from feeling what I felt. Don't you dare. Karina. No, she growled. I won't let you. Suddenly the ground shook. A Vrak signal was rising from the sky. Not ships. A planet killer, hidden behind the moons. Karina's skin turned cold. They didn't retreat. They were buying time. Ray nodded. They're sending it now. One blast, and this world ends. She looked at the detonator. We both use it. Like before. Ray shook his head. No. The root said only one link will work now. The others closed. It's me or no one. Silence. She stepped closer, tears in her eyes. Please, don't. You saved me from being a ghost, he said. Now let me return the favor. She whispered. We could have had more time. He nodded. But what we had, it was enough. He stepped back. His hand hovered over the trigger. Karina turned her back. She couldn't watch. Then, a soft voice echoed from the air. It does not have to end. Both turned. The ship, Second Chance, had arrived. It hovered silently. Its voice came from inside their minds now. There is one more path, but it will not be easy. Karina stepped forward. Tell us. The ship revealed a hidden protocol, a soul merge, a joining of memories, identity, energy. Both Ray and Karina could link into the root together, but they would not return the same. They would lose pieces of themselves. Some memories might vanish, some emotions fade forever. They might live, but not fully, not as who they were. Ray turned to Karina. You trust it? She nodded slowly. I trust you. They stood side by side, hands together. They stepped into the light of the root. It rose around them, wrapped them, burned through time and blood, pain, colors, voices, the ship, Earth, Shelnor, laughter, death. Her, mother, his sister, all of it mixed. And then, darkness. The Virac superweapon in orbit prepared to fire. But inside its core something shifted, a signal from the root. A code that reached even into their blackest machines. And one by one, they died. Fizzled, burned out. The sky turned silent again. On the ground in the ruined temple, two bodies lay still. A soft wind blew through. The vines rustled. Then, a breath. Ray opened his eyes. Karina followed. They sat up slowly, different, but alive. They looked at each other, same faces, same eyes, but their minds were quiet, like starting over. Karina whispered, Do you remember? Ray nodded slowly. Not everything, just the feeling. Good, she said. That's enough. The war was not over, but the Vracs were broken, and from the ruins. A human and an alien walked out together, not heroes, not gods, just survivors. Reborn. A new beginning. The world was quiet again. Not peaceful, but quiet. Ash floated through the air like snow. The old ruins of Shelnor stood tall and broken, caught between past and future. Ray and Karina walked side by side through the city of ghosts, changed, not fully human, not fully Varel, but something in between. The root had merged their minds, fused their memories, saved their lives, but also taken pieces with it. Small things, names, moments, voices, gone. But one thing remained strong. Connection. They could hear each other without speaking now. Feel each other's thoughts like wind passing through trees, and even in the silence they were never alone. In orbit, the sky was clear. The Vrac superweapon had been erased, its code burned out by the root. The enemy ships had scattered, leaderless, and lost. For the first time in years the galaxy had a chance, but Karina knew. This was not peace. It was only a pause. As they stood in the center of Shelnor's capital, a soft sound echoed from the deep earth. Not mechanical, not alien. Something else. A heartbeat. Ray looked at her. You feel that? She nodded slowly. Something's still alive down there. They followed the sound into the ground, through broken tunnels and ancient doors. And then, they found it. A chamber filled with light, not bright, not harsh, but warm. Floating above a crystal pedestal was a sphere, silver, glowing, humming softly. Ray stepped forward. What is it? Karina stared, her eyes wide. A seed. A seed of what? Of a future, she explained. Long ago, before the Vrax War, the Varel created backup life cores. Tiny memory spheres containing the blueprints for ecosystems, cultures, histories, species, entire worlds. If the root was the brain, this was the soul. The last hope to rebuild Shelnor, or something more. Should we take it? Ray asked. No, Karina said. We protect it. What if someone else finds it? Then we make sure. Only the right people ever do. They brought it to the surface, buried it inside the ruins, left markers, coded, hidden, protected, but not forgotten. Because they had both learned something. Sometimes power is not for using. Sometimes it's for preserving. Weeks passed. The second, Chance was rebuilt using parts from the root, the temple, and even the Varel ruins. The ship was no longer just metal and wires. It was part of them now, alive, aware. It had learned from their bond, grown its own mind. It didn't speak with words, but with feeling. It wanted to travel, and so did they. News of the Vrax retreat spread. All across the galaxy, voices whispered, "The monsters are falling." Someone broke their code. An alien and a human, together. Some wanted to meet them, others wanted to hunt them. Karina and Ray avoided the cameras. They had no interest in becoming legends. They were too busy building something real. Across dead systems, they planted relays, data from the root, warnings, knowledge, and hope. They didn't call it an army. But it was becoming one. A quiet one. Of thinkers, survivors, people who still believed. But the galaxy wasn't done with them yet. One night, in deep space, the ship woke them both with a sharp pulse, a signal, unknown, ancient, older than Varel, older than Varax, older than memory. It came from the edge, where stars no longer shone, where light died. Ray checked the coordinates. They didn't exist on any map. Not even the root knew that place. Karina looked into the dark screen. We shouldn't go, she said. But we will, Ray replied. They prepared the ship. Locked the root data in a vault. Set safety measures, just in case. And then, they jumped. The stars stretched and blurred. Space itself folded. And then, silence. Not quiet. True silence. As if sound had never been born here. The ship trembled. A shape floated, in the dark, not metal, not stone, not alive, not dead. Just watching. It sent a signal. No words, no pictures, just a single pulse. Karina closed her eyes and gasped. It's not a warning, she whispered. What is it then? Ray asked. A question? What question? She looked at him, then at the stars that no longer blinked. Are you ready to begin again?